morning, everyone. I'm Iris Parker. I'm the principal of Cedarbrook Middle School. We are in Cheltenham School District, right sort of north of Philadelphia, but if you know Philadelphia, it's in a weird shape. So we're sort of central Philadelphia north. And I want to introduce Kevin Burke. He's our vice principal, and Amy Thomas, who is data manager, math teacher extraordinaire. So they're going to help us today present. We're talking about similar things and coming at it from a little bit of a different angle. These were our 2012 PSSA scores, and what's very important to me is apples to apples, because you cannot, statistically, you can, the state does it, but compare one group of students against another. It doesn't make any sense to the people who are working hard every day, including the children. So what we do is we develop this chart, and it's actually done district-wide. We started it, and then all the other schools in the district do it, so that we can compare our children from year to year. So if you look at our 7th grade 2011 here, the 85, that compares to our 8th grade 2012. So if you look at the 2011 7th grade in comparison to the 2012 8th grade, you can see the jumps. And they are pretty spectacular in our overall percentage of proficient and advanced, and our closing of the achievement gap. So our black students in 2011 were at 76%. 2012, they left us 94% of them were proficient. 97% of our white kids were proficient. And so I don't want to hear about the fact that they can't do their high school work. Don't even talk to me. We are a 7th, 8th grade school. We do some collaborative work with our 6th grade school, 5-6 school. We have a 5-6 and a 7-8. But we can see the growth, 6, 7, 8. Some of it is just because they are growing and their brains are growing. And some of it is just 2 solid years of our teachers. And if any of you went to Peggy Cooper's session prior to this, the open-ended reading, open-ended writing pieces, open-ended responses, which are based on PSSA structure, but are totally content-driven. Go to the next slide. And then this is math. If you look at 2011 7th grade, 2011 8th grade, 2012 8th grade, pretty significant jumps. The area that we are struggling the most is our IEP kids, and for that, the 2012, we did not make AYP as a school because of that group of children, and it is not their fault. It is criminal to watch these children take this test, and what's worse is they've taken away the modified test this year. So we have spent the past month, and we are continuing to create PSSA groups of TLC kids, IEP kids, where we can, as much as we can under the new state laws, support these children so that they can complete the test to the best of their ability. But that's last year's scores. Moving on. We used to use Foresight, thank you, it's gone, so I forgot about it. We used to use Foresight benchmarks. We moved to Study Island benchmarks. We use Study Island very carefully. The children have assignments beginning in October that are due every Sunday night in reading, math, and 8th grades in science. And we line them all up. The curriculum is coordinated through them, and then they also take their benchmarks. So we'll look at the first benchmark, the second benchmark, the third benchmark. We compare them apples to apples. We compare them apples to oranges to see how they're doing and how they're progressing towards the PSSA. This is a little bit more of that comparison of benchmarks. And then,
this is the district data.
This is the district data. Okay. It's too small to zoom past this. Most importantly, what we're looking for is, what did you as an individual not get correct? What is it that you're struggling on? So the teachers will meet in teams. They'll meet in their instructional focus of the month group, and they will look at the specific questions where the top 52% of the children got it right. 40%, 55%. Those are the questions that's the content that teachers will be focusing on because that's where the holes are. And a little bit more of that.
Yes.
Study Island was very exciting. Does everybody know what Study Island is? Everybody's aware of it. It was very exciting the first year. Kids got to play computer games. Well, now it's, I have to do Study Island again. However, as I say to parents and as I say to students, these are skills that they are going to need for their academic work from now through college. So it's important that they practice these skills, and it's much better doing it on a computer than it is on a worksheet that I give to you. So there are the math and English teachers offer competitive races amongst their 5 classes. I'll walk into a math class and the first, period 1 has 85% completion. Period 2 has 92% completion, and the kids love this competition. So they get into competition. There's small prizes that the teachers give. The bragging rights amongst the teachers and the students are the greatest motivators. They walk around, how come your class has 92 and my class has only 85? Those kinds of things. Teachers even get into it. Then there's a huge bulletin board in the lobby with each child's name on a duck or a geese. I didn't get a chance to finish this. And then the duck and the geese are laid out in a form that says Cedarbrook, but it's like an Escher, if anybody knows Escher's paintings. It's laid out in an Escher format, and it's our National Junior Honor Society students who helped to put this bulletin board together. And then if you look, you can look across, you can see what we did in just 2 years. And this time we have it broken up with advanced, proficient, basic, below basic in reading and in math. So the jumps are pretty good between 2010, 6th grade, and 2012, 8th grade. And then we share the data with the stakeholders. We look at, we have a couple of people who are really into looking at the data. We count how many children jumped 2 levels. They went from basic to advanced. 5 students, plus 1 level, 37 students, etc. So we share all of that data with the stakeholders. Again, 96 kids went up, only 12 went down, plus 2 levels, 11 students, etc. And this is very affirming for the teachers, especially as soon as I get that spreadsheet of PSSA scores, I send it out to the teachers. There's no secret to it. They want to see, well, how did this one do? How did that one do? Keep going. I'm sorry. Yes. So, when we wrote the Schools to Watch application 3 years ago, we wrote our concerns for the 7th grade in the essay because the statistics demonstrated a downward trend. And this year, the progress of the 7th grade has made in our essay for Schools to Watch, that's what this means. Because our statistics demonstrated a downward trend, this year the progress of the 7th grade has made it to one of the themes of our Schools to Watch essay. They really made great progress. And, go ahead. Keep going, keep going. This is the most important thing. This is the advocacy for all. This is where teachers sit down with students, again, it's sort of a goal-setting session, and we set out Study Island goals. We have a course, and Amy's one of the mavens of this course. We have a course called Strategies for Learning. They have 2 marking periods of math, 2 math marking periods of reading. These courses supplement the math and English courses that we have, our regular math and English courses. And during this time, the strategies teachers will sit down with each individual child and review the data. And I'm going to talk about that more because that's really the crux of this. Positive means for encouragement. Look, in the first benchmark, you scored 12 out of 20. In the second benchmark, you're 15 out of 20. The third benchmark, you're at 19 out of 20. You should be able to score advanced in the PSSA. Put that same effort forward and you're going to do well. The final push is what we're having now, and then we have the PSSA coming in a few weeks. I'm going to move forward through this. This is the most important thing. We have pages that we give to the children, and I'm going to pass around a sheet. If anybody would like these sheets, email me and I will email them out to you. This is the cover sheet with the personal data. Go to the next one. Okay, And then eyes on the target. My 2011-12 PSSA reading score, where was I? My reading goal for 2012-13. This is where the goal setting goes. And then the graph. The children fill in what their scores were in the benchmarks, September, November, January, and then they graph it. So they're doing graphing in real life. The teacher holds on to these pages. Okay, and then it's parent-student reflections. We send these home. After the reviewing the data with my parents, we came to the following conclusions. And they talk about how well they did, what they can do better, what they can focus on, and then there's a parent signature. Same thing for math. Same thing for math. And then we're going to do a little demonstration. So, yeah, it would be fabulous. You do it with Mr. Burke?
Sure. So as Mrs. Parker said, I teach math strategies, which I see every 8th grader, which this year is about 390.
Yes.
So I've done this 390 times. So, and that's the first, what makes it, like we were saying, it's individual students, everyone's different, every goal is different. You know that there's kids, no matter what they do, they're not going to be advanced. Hopefully, maybe they'll be proficient, especially with math. I think there's like cut and dry, they either know it or they don't. So I do the initial conversation with all of the 8th graders. I have their first conversation. And a lot of that is like a fact-finding mission. It's an awareness for them. Do you know what you got on your PSSAs? You'd be surprised to know how many students will tell you, I don't know, it came in the mail. I think it was in the pile with my report card from the 4th marking period. I think I was advanced. I think I was proficient. Whatever it is that they are. So I have that first initial conversation where we look at 6th and 7th grade scores, and we look at, did you go up, did you go down? I have found, whether this is true or not, that the difficulty is from 6th to 7th. The reading on the PSSA, I think, becomes a lot longer. It becomes a lot more in-depth. I think 6th grade reading PSSA, when I'm talking, I'm like, really went down in reading. A lot of them will say, oh my God, in 7th grade, those passages were like 4 pages, whereas in 6th grade, so you get to find out a lot about like trends and things that are going on. So I have that conversation. And then now, the teachers that they see every day, they sit in their team meetings and they all go through and they say, well, I have a great connection with this kid. I'm gonna have this final PSSA conversation. So my conversation is about PSSAs from the previous years and kind of looking forward to how we're gonna work this year to get your grades higher, your scores higher, and then how the benchmarks fit in. The ones that happen in like February and March are, okay, you had this conversation, let's look at your 3 benchmarks from this year. Look how you went up, like Mrs. Parker was talking about. How can we use that to go forth? So I'll do what I do with my students in the beginning with Mr. Berg, and how I sort of talk about all different kinds of things with them. So I do this while I'm teaching. So let's say I'm teaching, I teach my little lesson, and then I'll give them, 20 minutes to work on something. So I might do 3 or 4 during a class period while they're working. I try to fit it in, which sometimes is easier said than done, but we don't know.